Hello. Today I have my Aunt Julie here to answer some questions about native plants. Let's start now. Okay. What is the difference between a native and a non-native plant?
A native plant is a plant that's part of the ecosystem and it's supposed to be here, and a non-native plant is something that was introduced from some other geographical area or another ecosystem that isn't part of the existing ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. What would you say the benefits of planting a native plant is?
Planting native plants invites all sorts of the native critters to your yard and that you get to watch, like you get to see beautiful native butterflies that wouldn't ordinarily show up, or because if you plant non-natives, you're not going to see any of the wildlife outside, but if you have the natives, you're going to be attracting all of the wildlife to your yard and you get to watch it, which is super cool.
Definitely. Um, what if I have a non-native plant in my yard that I like, but I want to keep it? What should I do with that?
So there's non-natives can be invasive. Invasive means that it takes over and outcompetes the natives. So as long as it's something that's not going to outcompete and something that you can keep up with, you can leave it in your yard and enjoy it. But if it's something that is seeding and going all over the place and taking over, then you're going to want to pull all of the babies and make sure that you keep a close eye on it.
Yeah. Um, would you say there are maps or zones that could help me decide what is a native plant in my area?
Yes. So the best resource that I've found so far is National Wildlife Federation has a native plant finder online, and you put in your zip code, or if you have a more rural zip code and it might not show up, just the closest big town, put in the zip code there, and it'll give you a list of things to plant in your area.
Sounds good. Um, can you tell me about some non-native plants that have caused problems in Pennsylvania?
Yes. So a lot of developments and industrial buildings and things, the developers and people were planting something called the Bradford pear because they thought that it was pretty with these pretty white flowers, and they don't support anything. Maybe a bird could build a nest in the branches, but that's about it. Um, and then the problem is that they can reseed themselves and spread everywhere, and then they also cross pollinate with, I'm not sure what the other species is, but they have these thorny thick trunks that grow in big masses, and even bulldozers and things like that have difficulty getting through them. So they've taken over. Some others, we have garlic mustard around here that takes over. Trying to think of some others right now. I mean, we have creeping Charlie all over our backyard. That's another invasive that's a problem. So trying to think of other things that people might plant. But even like butterfly bush is invasive
Oh yeah.
here. It's not invasive I was just reading that it's not as big a problem in sandy areas, but around here it spreads like crazy too, and it's not great.
And I
to
do
have
think
around.
that is a good plant to plant if you're in Asia,
Yeah, yeah,
but not here.
not here.
Um, what are some great native trees specifically that homeowners should plant in PA?
So number one, I'm a huge fan of a local entomologist named Doug Tallamy, but his number one is oak trees. They're like the superstar of the ecosystem around here. Just one oak tree can support over 500 different species of caterpillars and moths, for moths and butterflies, and those in turn will feed birds and continue on the ecosystem. So those alone, and not only that, but then they give shade and they help with stormwater and erosion control, and you could go on and on. So oak trees are definitely a superstar, but there are others that are other great natives, like native maple trees, like if you planted a red maple, things like that.
Nice. I do like oak trees.
So
I
do
think the one with the ring is an oak tree.
Oh, nice.
What would you say the best place to get a native plant is?
So the best place to get a native plant I've found so far, we have a couple of really good local places. In Media, there's Redbud Native Nursery, and then there's also Yellow Springs Native Nursery, and that's over in Chester Springs. But a lot of places do spring and fall sales, like Brandywine River Museum will have a spring and fall native plant sale. Natural Lands Trust has a spring sale. I don't know if they have a fall sale. So a lot of there's a Delaware Nature Society has one. So a lot of local natural organizations, nature societies have them too that you can find.
Nice. What positive changes have you seen in your yard by including native plants?
So I have lots of new friends in my yard. I have bunnies out front, I have chipmunks, I have shrews, I have unbelievable amounts of butterflies and moths and caterpillars, and my kids and I can go out and we just search underneath of all the leaves to see all of our friends. So it's slowly coming along, and the more we plant, the more little friends we're inviting into our yard. So it's been really cool to watch.
Great. Do you have any other last words of advice or wisdom?
My words of advice, the number one thing, this is going to, off the subject of natives in general, is just don't use pesticides and herbicides.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're going to plant natives but still use herbicides or pesticides, then you might as well not even try, because you're going to just kill anything that you're inviting to your yard. So number one is don't use pesticides and herbicides, and number two is have fun with it. I'm not a gardener. I used to joke that I had a black thumb and my dad would have to take over care of all of my plants, but now doing natives, they're supposed to be here. And you can get some really pretty cool native plants. I mean, we had hummingbirds at our cardinal flowers this year. I had hummingbird feeders for years, never had them, but now I have cardinal flowers, which are native, and I got to watch hummingbirds. So it's just really cool it's definitely worth it. And then the other thing to mention is Doug Tallamy has 3 books that are really, really good for getting you interested and pumped up. And even if you look up, he has lectures too online that you can watch if you're not a reader, and he has really good information there too about our local area.
Nice. Thank you for watching, and thank you for coming on my channel.
Oh, thank you.
I hope you have a great day, and have a good one.